Played 26 matches without defeat, including a famous win at Aberdeen in the last round. They were entitled to believe that another upset was possible. John Barnes is the commentator.
Livingston boss Ray Stewart has made 3 changes for the visit of the Premier League side. John Miller, Frank Conway and Brian McPhee return to the starting lineup. Miller, who was suffering with flu, returns to skipper the side. He's joined in central midfield by Conway, while McPhee complements John Robertson up front. John Robertson scored the vital goal that knocked out Aberdeen in the last round, and Livingston will be looking to him again to lead the way against the men from Perth. The veteran striker is hoping to add to his tally of 31 goals in the Scottish Cup. The man will be out to keep Robbo at bay. St Johnstone keeper Alan Main, the Saints captain, knows what it's like to play in a Scottish Cup final. He did so with Dundee United back in 1991. He was in the losing side on that occasion, but he's determined to go one better this season. Saints manager Sandy Clark makes 2 changes from the side which beat Dundee United last week. The players who come back in are Nick Dasovic and Nathan Lowndes. Dasovic takes up his usual place in midfield, while Lowndes renews his striking partnership with Roddy Grant. The referee is Stuart Dougal. So Livingston immediately on the attack, having already claimed the scalp of Aberdeen in the Scottish Cup in the last round. They also claimed the scalp of Dunfermline earlier in the season in the League Cup, so they're going for the 3rd Premier outfit to be knocked out of a cup competition. Quillen again angling the ball down into the corner, and across comes Paul Dees to clear. Quillen looking for Lowndes, good cross in from Nathan Lowndes. Good defending again by McManus. Paul Kane with a driven shot, he can't strike them from there. But a good save and a confident one from Neil Alexander. Paul Kane can unleash them from this distance, but Alexander right behind it. Now John O'Neill trying to get things moving for St Johnstone. Tries to go around the outside of Dees, does well, below cross in, Lowndes dummies it. Was it a dummy or was it a miscontrol? Only Lowndes knows whether it was a mistake or not. Good turn by Lowndes this time, gets away from Watson. Thinks about the shot, turns inside, still Lowndes, drives it in, the break of the ball falls for Roddy Grant. And St Johnstone take the lead. 19 minutes gone. And Roddy Grant gets his 4th goal of the season. Persistent play from Nathan Lowndes. The throw-in from McQuillan found Lowndes. He turned away from 2 Livingston players. He hesitated with the shot, eventually got it in with the right foot, stabbed it in, and Grant was quick to react. Another solid strike from Roddy Grant, putting St Johnstone in the lead. Lowndes again. Right in the corner, good cross coming in, and a fine header from Philip Scott. Great save from Neil Alexander. Powerful surge into the box from Philip Scott. Lowndes took it right to the byline, sent in the deep cross. Scott got above Roddy Grant, and Alexander made a fine save. McManus completes the clearance, but only as far as Kernahan. Up towards Grant, turning away. Still Roddy Grant into Kernahan. Alan Kernahan! Well, it's not often you see Alan Kernahan in the opposition box like that. But Alan Kernahan certainly pushed forward, linked well with Roddy Grant. And when the chance came a-begging, it just overrun Alan Kernahan. He couldn't get the final strike in. Kernahan, forward looking again for Grant. There's O'Neill. Up against Dees, gets a cross in. Grant's there again with a header. Comes off the crossbar, back to Philip Scott. And he rattles in the rebounds. 5 minutes from half-time. St Johnstone go 2-0 in front. Philip Scott, the man who sends the St Johnstone fans into raptures. The flighted cross again from John O'Neill. Roddy Grant was there with a header which came back off the crossbar, and Philip Scott didn't hang about, rattling home the rebounds. And Philip Scott gets his second goal of the season. King with a head flick on, finds McPhee. McPhee trying to get to the byline, sends in a cross, it's a good one. It's beyond Fleming and McQuillan. I think McQuillan just did enough to put Derek Fleming off there. And another long ball forward from St Johnstone into the corner. It's beyond Nathan Lowndes though, straight through to goalkeeper Neil Alexander. Referee Stuart Dougal brings the first half to a close with the Premier League side in front by 2-0. A good solid performance by the side from the Premier League. Roddy Grant opening the scoring after 19 minutes. It's his 4th goal of the season. Philip Scott added the second 5 minutes before the break. That means that Livingston have an uphill struggle in the second half. At half-time, it's Livingston 0, St Johnstone 2. St Johnstone get the second half underway. And immediately the long ball forward, which was a trait in the first half by both sides. Joe Jordan, an interested spectator this afternoon, the Northern Ireland assistant boss. Scott tries his luck with a long-range one. It was swerving. Alexander kept his eye on it. It was a good strike from Philip Scott, swerving away from the keeper. Did well. Brian McPhee knocking it on, but Kernahan got there in front of Robertson. And he strikes forward again. Links with Lowndes. Lowndes the back flick to Scott. Scott gets away from McManus. Cross too close to the goalkeeper, but a good challenge. Was it over the line? Yes, says referee Stuart Dougal. The solid challenge coming in from Roddy Grant, and he gets his second of the afternoon. Neil Alexander can't believe it. He thought he was impeded. It was good play from Scott on the left. He chipped it into the area. Grant got in there to challenge Alexander. He dropped it under the pressure of Grant. Grant, well, said thank you very much. Alexander lost grasp of it, and Grant said, I'll take that one, thank you very much. And here's John O'Neill. O'Neill finds Kane at the edge of the area, drives it in low, comes off Nathan Lowndes. And well, the linesman says it took a deflection off a Livingston player. And the corner to St Johnstone. Kane drove it in. Well, I think the linesman may have got that one right. John O'Neill flights it in for Kernahan with a header! Almost between the legs of Neil Alexander. He didn't know too much about that one. It was a good whipped in cross by John O'Neill. Kernahan with the low header, and Neil Alexander get that ball tangled between his legs. Jerry McMahon on the field of play as a substitute for St Johnstone. The man who's gone off is John O'Neill, and now Brian McPhee is off for Livingston, and the man coming on, Ian Little. Good turn from John Robertson, showing all the skills of the veteran striker. Gives it to McCormick, going for the byline. Still McCormick drives it in. Good save by Alan Main, and he reacted quickly to clear the danger with the final punch away. Kernahan's free kick, looking for Grant again. It's won this time by McManus. Charlie King. Switch of play, finds Dees. Now Robertson. Chance from McCormick. Right foot strike, took a deflection off Kernahan. Mark McCormick certainly has injected pace into the Livingston attack since coming on, but his shot was blocked by Kernahan. Corner swung in, it's knocked in by Miller, and John Robertson with a header gives Livingston what could be a consolation goal. Ever the Predator, John Robertson takes his tally in the Scottish Cup to 32 goals. It was a head flick on from John Miller to John Robertson. He was all on his own to knock that behind Alan Main. Corner from the right from Charlie King. The flick on at the front post from Miller. And there was Robbo netting his 12th goal of the season. Away by Paul Dees. St Johnstone, have they got another goal in them? Again, Simeo there. Alexander in the mix-up. Simeo just couldn't take advantage. It was chipped into the area. Simeo looked up, he got his left boot to it. The goalkeeper turned his back on it slightly, but Simeo couldn't direct it into the goal. Sandy Clark will be pleased to see his side progress to the next round of the competition. It could have been a tricky encounter, but the side comfortably on course for the quarter-finals. As referee Stuart Dougal ends this tie as a contest. St Johnstone through to the quarter-finals. 2 goals in the first half. One from Roddy Grant, the second from Philip Scott. Grant got his second on the hour mark to put St Johnstone 3-0 in front. And although John Robertson pulled a goal back for Livingston 5 minutes from the end, it was a good, confident victory for the Premier League side. At Ammon Vale, it finished Livingston 1, St Johnstone 3.
We didn't see the usual Livingston attacking force this afternoon.
No, we didn't, but maybe we were playing against maybe slightly better players, upbeat. They had more awareness than we did. But as I said, we're all disappointed today because we've let ourselves down, we've let our families down, we've let our supporters down, and we know we could have done a bit better.
Billy, you must be a happy man after that performance today.
Yes, delighted. I think from the first whistle to the last, a good, really professional performance. Sandy hammered home this week. It was all about their attitude, and I think they responded to that and put in a really good performance.
Does that make you all the more determined to do well in the league and get the promotion?
It's a disappointment today, obviously, and but we'll have to come back. And I've always said it's how we respond. And if we can come back in on Monday and prepare and get a result on Tuesday, then we're back on roll again. But we just have to live with it today. And well done to St Johnstone.
So now you're through to the quarter-finals. Can you go all the way?
Oh yes, why not? We've done it before, looking for a good home tie in the next round, and you never know, might see Hampden at 29th of May.
Billy, St Johnstone are going, Livingston are going so well this season, but there are 2 divisions between them and St Johnstone. I think today it showed, didn't it?
Well, I think they lost the element of surprise a wee bit. John Robertson, in the lead-up to the game, had cited a previous example, a smaller team putting out a bigger team, and then maybe the expectation there in the next game. But I mean, I think St Johnstone have proved themselves to be a rock-solid Premier League team, and I really didn't see that being a shock today at all.
Yeah, would you go along with that, Gordon? Does that surprise you that it was as comfortable as it was?
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be a comfortable performance. I didn't think it'd be easy for them, but the score, I thought St Johnstone would win the game. But it was I thought it'd been a lot tighter, and I thought Livingston would have put up a really good show, considering they've been going so well, full of confidence. But as Billy said there, that a lot of the expectation was higher today, because they'd knocked out Aberdeen away. Suddenly the fans maybe think that when they come home, and the press think that as well, they're just going to walk through. Yeah,
didn't turn out that way. Let's take a look at the goals then, which have taken St Johnstone through to yet another quarter-final. I think they're 8th in 11 seasons. Great record. Nathan Lowndes does all the hard work here, Billy, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, that's the type of thing you need in a cup tie, good positive play, and your strikers being on their toes and get a rebound off the keeper, and he's tucked it away nicely.
I mean, he's made it out of nothing, really. I mean, he's got a little nutmeg at the beginning, but he's burst through there. Lowndes, he hasn't featured an awful lot recently. You know, a few people wondering why, but I mean, there's Grant, who also hasn't been in the team. Sandy Clark's using the opportunity, obviously, to put another couple of people in. But
of course, Roddy Grant's heavily involved here again, isn't he? The second St Johnstone goal.
A speculative cross, but he's so good at that, Roddy Grant, getting up and getting his head to it, and Philip Scott arriving from the middle of the park, which he's so good at, and he's tucked it away.
It's a decent header, but the keeper's pulled away, and I think it was unsighted. Philip Scott has taken that really well.
And then Roddy gets another one with this cross coming in. Was it over the line the first time? Does it matter?
Does it matter? John was saying, I don't know if the referee's given it in the commentary. Yes, he has given it, but I think it was unequivocal once Roddy Grant banged it in, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that really wrapped it up, obviously, didn't it, Billy? I mean, it was the game was long over by that stage.
I think that's a big part of Roddy's game, that he's a real physical presence in the penalty box. There's John Robertson, as usual, getting his name on the score sheet. So obviously disappointed. He knows the game's beyond him then, but being a goal scorer, he'll still take a wee bit of satisfaction from getting his goal.
Disappointing day for Livingston then, but St Johnstone once again through to the last 8 of the Tennant Scottish Cup.